MPPs continue to debate the Ford government's back to work legislation at Queen's Park. The debate began at 5 o'clock this morning for the second reading of legislation to impose a contract on education workers and avert a strike set to start Friday. The Keeping Students in Schools Act will impose a new 4-year collective agreement on the approximately 55,000 education support workers.
That they're forcing these workers to go to food banks and work double jobs to be able to support food on their own table.
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you to the member opposite for the question. First of all, the number figured is worthy of some revision in the House. The average compensation package for an education worker in Ontario is $49,000. The number cited is $39,000 because the union used part-time workers to draw down the average. Let's not, Speaker. Let's not treat the people of this province like idiots, okay?
Yeah.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reacted to the Ford government's move.
Using the notwithstanding clause to suspend workers' rights is wrong. I know that collective bargaining negotiations are sometimes difficult, but it has to happen. It has to be done in a respectful, thoughtful way at the bargaining table. The suspension of people's rights is something that you should only do in the most exceptional circumstances, and I really hope that all politicians call out the overuse of the notwithstanding clause to suspend people's rights and freedoms.
CP24 talked with Noah Mendelsohn-Aviv, the executive director of the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, about the Ford government's use of the notwithstanding clause.
Most people in Canada believe very deeply in fundamental human rights. Most people feel very proud of the fact that Canada stands up for human rights. That's why those rights are enshrined in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. In a constitutional democracy, you have a constitution protecting the rights, and you have a democracy, and the two of those work hand in hand. The courts and the legislatures work hand in hand. The notwithstanding clause was included in the Constitution at a particular time for a particular reason, but never for anything more than a last resort, as I mentioned. And using it every time the government thinks that it is likely going to violate people's fundamental human rights is a very cynical and very problematic use.
Education workers are holding a rally at the Ministry of Labour in protest of the province's back-to-work legislation. CP24's Eden Debebe joins us live with the latest. Eden, can you tell us what's going on?
Well, Arda, it has gotten underway now, and I don't even need to tell you anything. You can hear it around me, the show of support. There are 7 to 8 speakers set to talk today, and one of them is joining me right now, Mr. Mark Hancock, president of CUPE. Mark, hearing all these chants, what are your emotions going into today's rally?
It's hard to hear you, but I think you asked about my emotions, and obviously I'm very disappointed in this government. You know, I've been around a long time. We have 2,000 locals, bargained with over 4,000 employers across this country, and this is the first time that this type of legislation is being used. We've seen workers legislate it back during a strike. We've seen workers negotiate or forced to take a collective agreement through legislation, but never have we seen the notwithstanding clause used, which is trampling over workers' rights and our human rights. And that's why I'm here today with all these people to send a loud message to this government that it's not appropriate, it's not acceptable, and we're not going to take it.
Absolutely. And you know this is an active situation. They're currently at Queen's Park right now discussing the situation here. What do you hope today's march is going to do?
I hope this will help send a message, and I'm seeing lots of messages of support on social media. I'm talking to lots of my friends in the labor movement that are here in Toronto and across this province that are disgusted by what this government is doing. And thankfully for the NDP for standing up for workers' rights, standing up for our bargaining committee. All we want is a fair collective agreement. We don't want to impact kids, we don't want to impact classes, but we need a collective agreement that works for our members.
Absolutely. And this is such a show of support. Did you expect to see so many organizations standing alongside CUPE in this?
Well, I'm never really sure what to expect sometimes at these rallies, and this one was really organized at the last minute. I think people started talking about it late last night and pulling it together, and I want to thank all of these folks for coming out today and spending a little bit of time here showing our disgust with what's happening in the legislature and showing Doug Ford and his government that it's not acceptable.
Mark Hannock, thank you so much for speaking with us. I know you're going to have to go up on stage very soon. And again, delivering a message to what looks like hundreds of people. And again, this has only started getting underway from 5 right through to 7 o'clock. The group plans to march right up to Queen's Park around 6:30. I'll be keeping you updated with everything going on as it happens. Sending it back to you, Arda.
Eden, thank you.